G'day, legends. Welcome back to Beers and Breakevens, heading into round 22. It is going to be an enormous week in the midst of the Olympics and everything going on. Good old rugby league just keeps on ticking away. And SuperCoach Timmy starting to get into its groove a little bit for the back end.
It is, mate. Well and truly underway, the run home to, head-to-head finals starting next week for most. You'll be getting near your draft finals, mate. Something we haven't touched on much this year. You live and breathe your draft. How are you tracking?
Mate, I'm doing okay. I talk about it all the time on the podcast. It hasn't got much of a feature here. No. Doing okay. I need to win the next 2 weeks, which I should, to get into the top four. I've had one of those seasons where I've scored well, but wins haven't quite come my way as much as I would have thought. But, mate, I'm sitting in a delicate spot, as you'll know in draft comps and everyone out there that's a SuperCoach player. A lot of it comes down to at the back end who's available. I don't have any Panthers. I don't really have any Roosters. I've just all the top teams that I think will rest at the back end. I don't have any of them. I've got all Cowboys, Dragons, all good players. So if I can just get through the next few weeks, my big thing, Timmy, I need to make the top four, which I should. But then if I lose week one, I have to play in week two, which is when the Cowboys have the bye, which is my entire draft side. That's my biggest thing. I was at about even this morning and Tom and Eddie were joking about the Cowboys-Tigers game being the worst game of all time this weekend. And I was like, it's my favourite game of the weekend. Dictates my mood for the rest of the weekend, the Cowboys game. So I love it.
I love your confidence of got to make the top four. Yeah, but I probably should. You're sitting fifth, aren't you?
I'm sitting in
fifth
1 week place. To play. I'm sitting in fifth place. I play a guy that's sort of given up a little bit this weekend. The next weekend I play the guy in fourth who has had one of the worst injury runs of all time. He's lost Nico. He's lost a heap of guys. He gets Joey Manu back this week, but they've got the bye next week. So that also doesn't impact me.
Story of your life, mate. Arsenal class.
Yeah, as always. Absolutely love it. Kat,
yeah,
all class. How are you?
Just all class.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you. How are we doing?
Very good. I had a solid weekend in SuperCoach. A lot of points on the bench that I didn't get, unfortunately, but hindsight. It's a wonderful thing in SuperCoach.
She had one of the great benches of all time on the weekend. Very, very
good. A 95 from Sean Lane. Who saw that coming?
Tim didn't.
I was with you for that one as well. Sean Lane, I was like, had him all year, forced to play him more often than I'd like to admit. And then this week he comes out 95. He was about my 25th best player in my squad this week, and I'm like, he goes 95.
Hurts.
But we're going to be able to move into Angus Crichton in a few weeks for bugger all Cat, so we're sweet.
It's actually worked out okay, all things considered.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm sitting there going, like, I wanted to trade him anyway, so at least we get a bit of value. Also, worth noting to the listeners, walking in this morning, and you referred to Kat as a babushka doll.
Yeah, well, if you have a look at Kat, she's taken a layer off, but she's got the long sleeve shirt on with a T-shirt, and then she put a vest without sleeves on, and I noted that with every layer of clothing, the sleeves were less and less.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think babushka doll, there's deep meaning to that. I do have layers. You're right.
Yeah.
And the longer you know me, the more you learn about me.
I'm going to interrupt you. Yeah. That's as far as my babushka doll knowledge goes. So I don't know what else I was calling you. I was referring to the layers, but proceed.
No, I get that. I agree with you. I think it's a decent way of describing the approach to my outfit today, which I'm not loving this outfit, and
really?
The babushka thing really threw me.
Because you are the fashionista of the show. Me and Tim, we're just scraping together the same three things we wear day in, day out, every day.
I can't even make a shit joke about that. I've got nothing.
Timmy is dressed for the Gold Coast in February. Like, he's ready for summer today.
He's good at what he does. I love it.
Yeah.
You can take the boy out of Kuma, but you can't take Kuma out of the boy.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Is exactly what it says on the tin, which I absolutely love.
On the tin or the Tim?
The Tim, lovely. I am ranked 7,941. My score, 23,457. 200 and what do we say, 92 points ahead of you?
292 or 293 or something.
Yeah, where are you sitting, mate? How you going?
Mate, how many did you score this week?
What's that? 1,375.
I just rattled off all the good stats in your favour. First time I've beaten you in about 3 weeks. 14.55 for the Stallions. We're back,
score,
baby.
that.
The hooves are pounding. 23,164 overall. 1,600 rank spot rise into 12,700.
Wow.
I thought about it, Rube.
Yeah.
If I continue to make that jump every week for the next 6 weeks, I'll be top 1,000.
You sure will. You won't, though. Scatmandu, how'd you go?
Decent, 1,348 overall. for my score, and I pretty much stayed the same rank-wise. I went up just 318 spots, so we're still sitting around that 22K mark.
I've never heard anyone refer to their score as overall.
Yeah, I don't know what that was either. My overall score, I don't know.
It's unique. I love it.
Yeah.
Mate, I was having a look at my history of scores the other day, which I don't do all that often. But I was looking the other day. You know, I went on a 10-week streak of never going above 1,115 and never below 1,090.
How many weeks?
Like 10 weeks in a row.
Really?
Unbelievable. Yeah. 1,000. Yeah. Insane.
Jeez.
Yeah. Crazy. Unbelievable.
Pat Carrigan-esque.
Yeah. Now we're starting to rise like a phoenix.
We're coming.
Yeah, we're doing well. Okay. Now, our winner for this week was Scott, and he's the head coach of the Merkin Rustlers, which I, growing up with the nickname, with the last name Durkin, I heard quite a bit of the old Merkin of pubic wig fame. So I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed even more filling you guys in on the existence of the Merkin.
Yeah, I've never heard that term my entire life, but I feel better for knowing it.
Yeah,
Do you feel better?
Yeah.
You don't?
It's like pieces of information I didn't need.
It'll come in handy one day. I don't know in what way, shape or form, but it will come in handy at some point to know what a Merkin is. So shout out to Scotty, score of 1,690. That is huge. I'd love to see it. Mate, send your address where you reside to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. And I'll tell you what, Timmy, we might be the most generous, best looking and greatest blokes of all time. What have we done for our Kiwi brothers and sisters of late?
Put it this way. I walked in here this morning in a T-shirt and shorts, and if you notice a bit of sweat breaking from my forehead, I actually had to walk in from the Shire to the city for the podcast because I couldn't afford a bus ticket because everyone of the bloody weekly winners is from New Zealand.
Unbelievable.
And I sent the prizes out last week and I was going through one by one, international post. They have risen, which is fantastic for everyone except my bank account. And yeah, so the Kiwis got actually a message this morning. They should be arriving in NZ. They've arrived in NZ. They should be arriving on your doorstep within the next day or two. But yeah, they've all the prizes thus far this season have been sent out.
Yeah, and there's been a bit of controversy previously with our brothers and sisters over the other side of the ditch with prizes and whatnot, but we got you.
We've got you.
We got you back. So how good's that? I had to send them all out last year, not a single winner from New Zealand. So I appreciate all of you for getting stuck into the wallet of Timmy Williams. That moth in there would be even lonelier now.
I'm looking at heading over to NZ in the off season for a little getaway, and if there's any more Kiwi winners, I will be dropping it on your doorstep just to avoid postage.
Hand delivered by Timmy himself.
Yeah. Man, Kat, I got a little getaway this weekend too. We're going to Perth, aren't we?
Ha 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 ha! I can't go. I can't go. Stop rubbing it in.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. If you're at the Dolphins Roosters game, come find me. Let's chat a bit of SuperCoach. All right. Are we good to get into team lists that came out on Tuesday?
Yep, and when they tend to come out.
Yep. Thursday, we've got the West Tigers and the Cows, 7:50 p.m. coming to you from Leichhardt Oval. Sebo made a very good point on About Even today, talking about the Tigers, how they've lost their soul, and it's like Harry Potter. They're stuck in like Horcruxes around the world, and Leichhardt Oval's one of them. Luke Brooks is another one. Who else would be a West Tigers Horcrux? Benji?
Yeah, I was going to say Benji Marshall.
I was going to say James Tedesco's like Voldemort. Like once it's dead, you can finally break the curse. But whilst James Tedesco's running around carving up for the Roosters, I think he's the key.
Do you
to
reckon
Horcrux, isn't he?
Also like an Adam Dewey injury is one of them?
I was going to say like a Taniela Tuaki right leg or something. There'd be one there. Liam Fulton's bald head.
I'll tell you, okay, I need a, I like Harry Potter. I'm not a mad nerd. I'm more of a Lord of the Rings nerd. But let me get this right. Tom Riddle, who was dead, to my knowledge, and also got a bit of Voldemort in him. He's Laurie Nichols. Like, he's one of the hearts of my great uncle, great pop or something. He'd be great pop, I reckon.
Great pop.
Yeah. Mum's Trishy's a Nichols.
Yeah.
Laurie Nichols adds up.
How good's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thought that was great from Sebo. Galvin at 5'8", Latu at 7. Nothing else to really note with that West Tigers lineup.
Well, mate, there is little Ruben Porter. chipping along all right for
mate,
you?
he's just part of the side now. Just does his thing. Another little one I pluck from nowhere, Cat. Thank me later.
If you can keep that spot, those last couple of weeks when players drop like flies, could be a very handy number for you.
Yeah, he will not be getting rested, Ruben Porter. I'll give you the hot tip there. Cowboys, Lukey comes back into the 2RF. McHaley named in jersey 13. Obviously, Tamalolo and Ruben Cotter out for Ruben Cotter only out for 1 week. You said before Tamalolo, was it 4 to 5? 4 to 6?
3 to 5, I think.
3 to 5. Ruben Cotter on the run home. Might be a little interesting play in a few weeks.
Yeah,
No
I've got some
Tamalolo?
stats on him later, mate.
Good. Awesome. Love that for the draft team. Friday, Warriors, Eels, 6 p.m. Go Media Stadium for the Wars. CNK returns at fullback. RTS on the wing. SJ at 7. Chanel Harris Tavita at 5'8". The Eels, pretty much 1 to 17. Nothing huge to note there in that game. Anything you want to touch on here, Timbo?
No, but to keep Anton Posse happy, I need to pronounce the centre's name correct because apparently no one in Australian media has done it correctly.
I saw that little tantrum, yeah. What is it?
Ali Leatawa.
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 Yeah, I think I was saying that on Monday. I took it on board over the weekend.
There you go.
Fucking good player. Tell you that much
He's
for
a
free.
gun. I mean, so much changed in Supercoach in a week. You just sit there and he's had his first price rise. I'm like, wouldn't have minded jumping onto him last week, but he's a very good footballer.
Very, very good. Dolphins Roosters coming here from HBF Park in Perth. That'll be at 8 p.m. Dolphins essentially 1 to 17. Nothing huge to note here. For the Chooks, Manu returns at centre. Nothing else major there for the Sydney Roosters. Anything on that game, Timbo?
Oh, just the only one, mate. I pulled the trigger and used a second trade last week going Terrell May to Payne Haas, which paid very big dividends. So I was very happy about that one. I was saying last night, but the writing on the wall was just when Stili Tupanua came onto the bench and Sandon Smith, who also plays in the forwards, granted, when Tupanua came on, it was just an out-and-out forward bench. No sort of utility there, and Terrell played about 32, 33 minutes. So he's the most sold player this week. I think you don't have to rush to sell him by any means, but it doesn't look good for his minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. I will be seriously looking. I've got a few things to talk about today, trades, but moving Samuel Finu up to the front row and maybe going Terrell to an Angus is in my plans potentially. But I've got a few other guys. We'll get to that. We'll get to it. Calm down. We'll get to it. Christ. All right. Let's move to Super Saturday. Titans, Broncos, Seabus Super Stadium, 3 p.m. for the Titans. Jolliffe and AJ Brimson, they are back on the extended bench. Nothing else to really note there on that Titans side. For the Bronx, Corey Oates returns on the wing, so Nkoba out of this one, obviously. And Dean Mariner, who was hobbling off last week, he's back for this game as well. Anything here, Timbo?
Oh, the only thing I'd touch on, mate, is that when you look at teams and their run homes and you see the Broncos in it, no longer are they by any means a concern, I don't think, particularly when you're looking at attacking players on the edges. Their edge defence is so poor. It's just not a hard game at the moment for Supercoaches or NRL in general.
Hard to push back on. Storm Dragons, Amy Park, 5:30 p.m. for the Melbourne Storm. Money at 6. Tyron Wishart, 14. No Sua Farlongo. He's dropped out of that side. For the Dragons, Sloan returns at fullback. Lomax on the wing. Jack Bird and Ravalawa on the extended. And I think the great Blake Laurie has joined the bench as well. Anything to touch on there? Next game, we got Sharks and Rabbitohs coming in from Shark Park, 7:35 p.m. Saturday night. Sharkies, Will Kennedy returns at fullback. Sammy Stonestreet jumps onto the left wing, replacing Mulatalo. For the Rabbitohs, Fletcher Myers makes his debut on the wing. Richie Cannar returns at centre. Cam Murray returns on the edge, and Tallis Duncan on the bench, which I cannot make any sense of whatsoever. That's wild. Anything Supercoach here, Timbo? Mulatalo out's a big one for a lot of people out there.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
He's about 40% ownership with
Is
a
he
really,
really?
Yeah, with a soft run home.
Love that. You don't have him, do you?
No, I don't. It's really huge dagger for him. And he was one that I'm sitting there going, I was scared not to own him for the run home. And I was chatting to Desi Creek last night, and Desi goes, I'm kind of happy about it because I don't have that decision whether to sit him or start him for his 13 or his 130 each week.
Yeah, I get that.
So I understand that as well. But yeah, look, it's a blow for owners, and I think you've got to move him on. Sammy Stonestreet comes in, and look, I think you probably, if you're looking for a downgrade to free up cash elsewhere, I think Jesse McLean's probably a better proposition. But Stonestreet comes in, a complete, absolute bottom dollar at 204K, gets his second game in the NRL this week. He should have that spot for minimum a month, soft draw. could do worse.
Yeah, he could do much worse. Sunday afternoon footy, we got the Panthers and the Newcastle Knights, 2 p.m. out there at Penrith for the Panthers. Iongi makes his debut at fullback. Very, very keen to see how he goes. No other major changes there. Obviously, Fisher's out, so Lindsay Smith, he steps into the starting role, but not much to touch on with the Panthers. Newcastle Knights, Sharp on the wing, Dylan Lucas to left centre, Phoenix Crossland at halfback. Couple of things to unpack here, Timbo. Obviously, Fletcher Sharp, break even to 50 going up against the Penrith Panthers. Not ideal, but I wish this would have happened last week. But anyway, for me, it makes it interesting because I actually don't have a fullback this week. I've got Turbo and him. So it gives me the option to maybe hold him for a week and then get KP next week. We'll talk about that soon. The other one that I think is worth noting, mate, Phoenix Crossland at 7. I think we spoke about it. I think you guys spoke about it on Playbook last night as well. I think this will really help KP and Marcio. I think he'll go out the back a lot more. I think, not that it really impacts us that much, but I think it'll hinder Kai Piss-Paul. I don't think he'll get as much crash ball anymore.
Well, that's it. It was just Hastings, crash ball to KPP, crash ball, that being Kai Piss-Paul, of course. And as you said, Crossland, he's tough. We know that. He's been playing in the middle for 2 years. I think he'll play direct. I think he'll play deep into the line. And as you said, he'll just be looking to free up space for Kalen Prong on the left. I don't know how long this combination is going to remain as is. I was very surprised it happened, but I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see Phoenix in the halves where he came through all the junior grades when he started his NRL career. And mate, the real winner is Jaden Brayley.
Yes, it's a big win for Jaden Brayley and Tim Williams.
Yeah, he just becomes... I'm looking at my team and planning it moving forward, and I'm set everywhere. The one little concerning spot is just my reserve hooker, Therese Robson. The Cowboys have a bye in a few weeks. If you can just hold that starting spot, Brayley, for that week, and I can just play him that week when needed, it'd be a real low-key gift. Jack Cogg's on the bench, so he's not necessarily going to play 80, but he becomes a viable backup hooker option while starting. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, mate, as you said, I'm very excited to see Phoenix. He was a gun 7 coming through, and they tried to turn him into a 13 or hooker. I think with a bit more experience under his belt, I reckon he's going to do really well at halfback.
And that time, a lot of time playing as a hooker, as a 13, it'll have just done wonders for his defence. Yeah. So, it's exciting.
Yeah. Bulldogs Raiders, Belmore Sports Ground, 4:05 p.m. for the Doggies. Stephen Crichton back in. Josh Addo-Carr back in as well. And Josh Curran here has been named at prop, came off injured last week. We do believe that he will run out in that one. For the Raiders, nothing to really touch on here. Hopewate and Horsburgh on the extended, but no changes there. Mate, your Raiders, doing okay.
Yeah, they just find a way, don't they?
Quality halfback.
Yeah, well, the importance of Jamal Fogarty to this team, and we chatted about it on Bloke in a Bar podcast on Monday, but hasn't his value just gone through the roof? His stocks in the last 2 weeks, coming back and just resurrecting this side. Yeah, no, he's done incredibly well. Very good for Rancho, Relo, Maxo too. Don't want to bring up the draft team again, but we're making moves. Guys, Blue Wealth Property, our major sponsors for season 2024. Usually we have a link to go to an event or whatnot. We got something a little bit different for you today. So have a direct conversation with the Blue Wealth team about your situation and if investing in property is right for your wealth creation goals. Many Beers and Breakevens subscribers have connected with Tony, Mort, and the team at Blue Wealth Property, like Sam and Hannah, who we interviewed on the show a few weeks back. Some have made the decision to invest in property and take control of their financial future. Tony's team will chat through in detail what Blue Wealth do, how they identify great property to invest in, but more importantly, get to understand your situation and work out a plan of attack, also known, Kat, as a POA. Click on the link in the show notes and book a discovery call with the Blue Wealth team today. Now, Timmy, you and me, we've been into Blue Wealth Property, into the offices a couple of times. We've sat down with Tony and Mort, just the two of us, and it's essentially what we've had, a discovery call where we both sort of talk about our situation and where we're at, and Tony and Mort sort of guide us in different directions about the way it could play out, and this stuff is absolutely invaluable. Yeah, for sure, mate. The office is literally blue and white themed for Tony and his Bulldogs, as is the Blue Wealth Property logo. And it's great. Like we sit here and we plug events each and every week to go to, but you can chat to them. So book a call. It's obviously free of charge. Hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Ask them the questions that you want to ask. I think the biggest one that we've sort of mentioned in the past, but if you think you want to get into the property market, but you've got no idea how to do it, whether or not you're in a position to do it, this is the opportunity to ask the questions and find out where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd highly advise it. I'll tell you a little John Dory. I was at the Newmarket Hotel on the weekend with the old man and a couple of his mates, and I went to get up, leave. I had to go home, had some stuff to do. The Bulldogs were on. They were giving it to the Brisbane Broncos, and I walk out of the mighty Newmarket Hotel where dreams come true. We quite often go there for a Caesar salad, you might remember.
Yeah, sorry, an Aiden Caesar salad.
Caesar salad, very good gear. I walk out there, and who's sitting in the beer garden? Big T-Rex and all of his mates in their doggies gear, and they had one poor bastard with them who was a Broncos fan. He was absolutely copping it.
I was going to say, geez, that'd have been quiet.
Mate, I don't know how I didn't hear him from the inside. Tony and them were going nuts. The Canterbury Bulldogs flying at the moment. Guys, the link is down here below if you would like to set up a discovery call. When you get on the phone, make sure you tell them you were sent by Beers and Breakevens. Make sure you scream it down the line and let them know where you've come from and you're proud of where you've come from. A Beers and Breakevens and zins. So, yeah, reach out to Blue Wealth Property guys doing great things as always. Now, we have got Tim's Stat Deep Dive. Connor Tracy, the man of the moment. I'll tell you what, he was getting a few cheers at the Newmarket Hotel the other day. Boys, absolutely loving his work. Talk to me.
Yeah, firstly, good to see Kat really buying into the intro nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I love this one. I'm excited to talk about Connor Tracy. I think you flagged him in our Super Pods a couple of weeks
back.
back.
I after that episode, I went home and I looked at him again and again and again, and I thought, it's a bit rogue. It's probably too rogue for me. Fuck, would have been nice on the weekend.
You absolutely would have done it. He would have been your, if the fixture's set up right and everything fell in place, he would have been your Tolotau Cola last year in the last few rounds.
Yeah.
167 points against the Broncos in a masterful display, some would say. 615K. Season average, okay, but we break it down to his games at fullbacks without any, I don't think there's been actually injury since he moved to fullback, but 10 games at fullback for the Doggies this year for a 68.7 average. The Doggies have a really soft run home. Their attack, as of last weekend, is genuinely the best it has looked in many a year. Mate, you go through his scores and, like, statistically, I mean, those numbers are good around fullback, but they're also boosted by that 167. Prior to that, he had scores of 34, 62, 43, 108, 49, 59, 37, 57. They're not great. Statistically, it's a no. Eye test, gut feel, everything about Connor Tracy in the Dogs right now says he is a huge pod option for the run home.
Yeah, I love him as a footballer. I think he's an absolute gun. We were calling for him to be the fullback at the start of the season there. Big fan. Statistically, those numbers really worry me a little bit more than I thought they would. As you said, mate, you take out the 167, you're looking at 3 games in his last 5 where he goes sub 50. There are a couple of low scores in there. You know what I find really interesting about that game on the weekend, Timmy? I'm not quite convinced. Like, I know the Bulldogs are a very good team, yeah, don't get me wrong, but I'm also a little bit unsure how bad the Broncos are at the moment. That's my thing. I'm very interested to see how they go against the Titans this week. As I said, I mentioned Connor Tracy the other day, got a little bit excited about him, but I don't think I could do it. I think it just would take way too much courage. But, mate, take the Kohler example last year. You got to make plays at the back end if you want to have a crack at this thing. And if the Bulldogs are in form, they don't have a bye to come, they might rest in the last week. That's my worry. If they're potentially in the top 4, or, the other thing with Canterbury is they might have a home final week 1 locked in, being 5th or 6th. They're meant to go to North Queensland in the last. Oh no, North Queensland are coming here. Okay.
I don't. Just the way their draw pans out, I don't see them. They should be in the top 8. I see them playing for a top 4 spot, or at least being in the hunt that round 27. In saying that, it could pan out that they're just locked into 5th or 6th, couldn't it? Where they could. Regardless, there's lots of ifs and buts and coulds and this and that. So who knows? Yeah. We don't even know if Geraldo would want to rest him at all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. And I'll be honest, I'm not even super tempted, but I genuinely believe, and if I had big kahunas about me, I think he can average 75 on the run home. But yeah, I do. And I think he can be a serious pod play with that dual CT dub fullback status. So not for me, but I like him as a flyer.
I mean, what Manly Cowboys last 2 weeks at home, they're the only top 8 sides they play over the next few weeks.
They could also rest players depending on where they're sitting in that top 8.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Oh, God, I hope the Cowboys don't.
Like the Cows and Manly are both every chance to be around that 5 to 8 mark without any ability to move. So, I mean, all 3 of those teams, Dogs included, are around there. So, yeah, not for me, but, mate, I think there's a play there.
Mate, Ruben Cotter is obviously out this week. Got knocked out last weekend. Chasen Tamalolo out for a couple of weeks, a month or so, as we said. There's minutes up for grabs there. He plays big minutes already, but I think it'll just see an uptick in base stats, won't it?
Yeah, Tamalolo out. Not going to hurt him at all. Certainly help. He's one of the most sold players this week. He's dual front row forward, 2RF. Obviously played the 20 minutes for 10 points on the weekend with that head knock. I just don't think he's a sell at all. And let's go through his recent scores. 63, 103, 67, 51 and 65. We chatted again a little bit about him last night, but his season average of 60, that's brought down by even reduced minutes sort of at stages throughout, probably in and around Origin, but he's playing big minutes. In those last 5 games, he has base of 45, 68, 63, 48 and 61. He's doing a huge job. The Cowboys, as we said, they're going to be playing for if not a top 4 spot, at the very least, top 8 spot. I think he's going to keep playing big minutes. I think he's a hold.
I wonder if people, and I don't, do you have him, Kat, or do you used to have Ruben Cotter?
Sorry, turn my mic off.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, I never had him.
You never had him at all?
No, but he's a player that I used to have in fantasy.
Right,
and
okay.
he was.
I thought you had him.
No.
Mate, the only thing I can think of people selling him, there's 6 games left. He's not going to play 2 of them. He's got a bye to come. He's obviously out this week. So from that point of view, people might be going straight to Angus, in which case I can understand.
Yeah, actually there was a question on that last night. If he's your ticket to Angus via Jules, I'll get around that.
Yeah.
I think there'd obviously be a lot going to Payne Haas.
Yes, yep.
I like, it's an upgrade. I think you'd want to have trades, though. I think it's somewhat of a luxury trade because
that's fair.
Even then, he misses this week. He's probably going to be a lot of people's in your top 2 front rowers. But I think by this stage, most people should have a combination of like Samuel Afinu, Josh Curran, Terrell May, playable options. So he could easily be a third one that you just sit this week. Like I've got 3 strong front rowers or strong enough. I don't want to play the third one at all in the run home unless I have to.
Yeah.
So you just sit him this week and for the bye.
I think the other advantage he's got, he's obviously not playing this week, but then he plays his next 3 games are all in North Queensland, Broncos, Raiders, and then the Melbourne Storm. He's got the bye there. I actually think, back to our point before about guys could potentially rest in round 27, I refuse to believe that Todd Payton will have a bye in round 25, rest in round 27, play 1 game in a month before finals. I don't think that'll happen. So you might have bent my rubber arm here just quietly, mate. Not bad. Ruben Cotter, don't mind that at all. Jeez, wouldn't he have been a good pick if you sort of plucked him out of nowhere when he was a young bloke and tipped him? Anyway, Scotty Sorensen, good-looking rooster, my God, and had a great game on the weekend. I believe he's carrying a little bit of a shoulder injury, Scott Sorensen, but I don't think it's too detrimental at the moment. He's always just the one that got away, Scotty. I'd love to have him at one point just for shits and gigs.
If he wasn't, how many has he strung together now in a row? Because he had those, obviously, injury concerns early and says he came back just before Origin. If he'd come back a little bit early and he was fully fit and there wasn't those injury concerns, I flagged at the start that I wanted him for the Origin period, but then he was injured and didn't come back until round 11, just before the Origin period started.
Yep.
I've wanted to own him the last 2 years. I just haven't found a way to do it. His numbers are good, mate. So he's had 9 games of 70 minutes plus this season. Since round 12, so he came back round 11. Since round 12, he's been back to that 70 minutes, 80 minutes in 6 of those games. In 9 70-minute games this season, he's averaging 62.6, which is very solid. 2 of those games were his first game back from injury. 47 in base in that period. Just about every single one of those games was without Nathan Cleary, which is huge. I know they're different edges, but... And on top of that, I think minimum 2, possibly 3 of those games were without all the Origin players. Actually, it would have been at least 3 of those games without Origin players.
Yeah.
So you're now putting back in a full-strength Panthers team, which was the first time basically since round 11 that's happened. He scored 92. He had 53 in base, scored a try, a bunch of attacking stats, and he's also 554K. He's affordable. I like the Scotty Sorensen. I like Penrith for the run home.
Yeah, and I one thing I noticed on the weekend, Timmy, they love to turn him under.
Yep.
They just kept doing it. As someone that had Casey McLean in draft, I was waiting for him to get the ball, and they just went to Scotty all day. They love laying that line out there.
He could produce a lot of attack on the run home.
And him coming back against the grain, he's one of the best in the league
Yep.
at it. He's lethal.
Man can
I like
move.
that. Scotty Sorensen, very good. I would put him up there as top 5 best eyes in rugby league.
Only top 5.
Top 5. What are your thoughts, Kat? Scotty Sorensen. Do you know the head I'm talking about?
Of course I do. It's funny. Do you remember back in the day, i.e. the start of the season, we did that video where I bleeped out who my number 1 was in the end. What I think should have been the top 100.
Yeah, the hottest
number
100.
1
Yeah.
in the hottest 100. And everybody thought I said Scotty Sorensen.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a very good looking rooster,
yeah.
Scotty Sorensen. I think he's is he married? I think he's married to Chad Townsend's sister.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's some correlation there.
Big Chad guy.
Big Chad guy. All right,
Anyway.
last one. Jack Howarth. We've come off the back fence for the big fella, but my God, he is delivering now. Really good to see.
Took a long time, didn't it, after
Yeah.
signing that big money contract with the Melbourne Storm a few years back, and he's just come in and he's seemingly unseated Remus Smith in that Storm outfit, among others. And look, it's not a buy one, but it's probably one more to flag for next year if he can lock down the spot. Now that he's played a stack of games at centre, I'd imagine he'll probably get dual CT dub 2RF next season. And just one that got away, and not in a negative way. Like, I don't think anyone could have touched him because of his job security issues there. But he's just come in. He's averaging 62 points since he's locked out in the last 5 games. Since he's locked down that spot, he's risen 212K. He's got a break even of 3. Said way too late now, but anyone that did, for whatever reason, back it and jump on Jack Howarth, he's just chipping away nicely.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously now gets Cam Munster back inside him. Absolutely massive. So, yeah, he's going to be an interesting one next year, isn't he? I can see him getting dual position next year. I see him getting overdrafted and then Belly doesn't pick him round 1 again. That'll be good fun to watch how that plays out. But doing great things, Jack Howarth. All right. Any more on the deep dive, mate? Or are we done and dusted?
We're done.
All right. Let's move to our trades this week. Now, I have, first of all, how many trades you got left? I've got 7 left going into this week. How many have you got left, mate?
8.
8. Catmandu?
11.
Fuck, I hate her. What are you thinking, Timbo? What are you looking at, mate?
So I'm eyeing Jermaine Asako down to Casey McLean. Mm-hmm. I think McLean's won that spot, looks the goods. I liked what I saw from the Panthers on the weekend. Again, we had a really in-depth chat about this on Bloke in a Bar, but just the halves, like Nathan Cleary, who's stationed on the right, Luai on the left. We saw Cleary playing on the left a lot, which is McLean's side. We're seeing Luai play to his left edge a lot more than we'd have earlier in the year.
Yeah.
His base is solid. The attacking upside's there. The draw's there. He's had one price loss at 270K. I just think he's a terrific option. You know, I can see him holding that spot when Paul Alamotti comes back end of season. I can see Penrith resting players around sort of 26 or 7. He probably stays and keeps playing.
I reckon he does too.
Yeah, want him in him. So
Or if they rest guys, they're going to need him to.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm liking Asako to him. Asako, the Dolphins have a really tough draw. The Dolphins are just sending everything to their left. On the weekend, I held him for 1 extra week because I'm like that matchup against Kelly, Khan Pereira, Jaden Campbell. Like, they have to hit that edge. They didn't. It all went to Isaiah Katoa and Jack Bostock on the left. So I'm looking to cut ties with Asako, who's over 40% owned. Little antipod play there. My second trade's where it gets very interesting. And I presented this last night on the Playbook podcast and got mixed reception. Not the reception I expected, actually, but Jai Gray, he's done a nice job for me. 3-week average about 60, earned some good coin. A bit more coin incoming, but Sharks and I believe Melbourne to come. Don't really want to play him either of those weeks. Matt Burton or Cameron Munster. Both cheap. Both have soft runs home. I am leaning towards the fitter Matt Burton in a side who are humming, but in saying that, Melbourne are probably the informed team of the competition. What do you think about it, and which way would you lean, if any?
I would start by saying I've never been a huge Supercoach fan of either of these guys.
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not huge on either of them. I think Matt Burton's, the Canterbury Bulldogs are absolutely flying at the moment, but I mean, like, Christ, he has got some low scores in him, and even, like, take out the 147.
He doesn't really, though. The Roosters game was at centre. I'm happy to put a line through that.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Where his low scores? 139 against Para. Other than that, there's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never trust him. If I'm bringing someone in for this run home, I want someone that I'm confident can go 100 plus on any given week, and I just don't see Matt Burton as being one of those guys. But I'm more than happy to admit I'm a little bit biased because I've never been huge on buying Burton from a Supercoach point of view.
And I've been with you. I've never been a big Burton guy either in Supercoach. I think we're looking just at a dramatically different Bulldogs team now with a soft run home, playing for a top 4 spot, obviously goal kicking.
Yep.
We're looking at a very different Bulldogs and a very different Matt Burton in my eyes for the next 6-7 weeks that we have in the past.
And I almost think my vibe is I almost think that almost hurts him to some extent because they're not as Matt Burton reliant as what they once were, which is what I don't love.
I don't think they've been Matt Burton reliant all year though. And he's scored well.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. As I said, I don't want to be bringing in a guy that I'm not confident can go 100 plus on any given week, which is why I would probably lean slightly towards Cam Munster. But obviously coming back from injury, there's a risk there. Munster as well sort of fits into that category for me to some extent that whenever I don't own Munster, I'm sort of like, look, he probably isn't going to absolutely punish me realistically.
Riddle me this.
Well, what's Cam Munster at? 603K.
I know.
What's Burto?
577.
Yeah, right.
Munster's got that 147 break even, but he also has the Dragons this week. 149 break even. Riddle me this. 5H for the run home. Whip them up on your screen. To go by averages. Who are the 5H you want for the run home? And take into consideration averages. Price. Because Jaden Campbell to me, who people mass sold last week, which was mental. I'd love to own him, but I don't really want to pay an extra 202 to 250 grand for him when there are Munster and Burton available.
Yep.
So have a look through. Who are the 5H you want for the run home? I currently have Dylan Brown, which I'm more than happy with, plug a hole, and I have Jai Gray. Jai Gray needs to become someone at some point. Doesn't have to be this week, to be fair. Who do you like?
Okay, well, I've got Jaden Campbell. And I'm going to continue to run with him, obviously. My other 5'8" at the moment is Cody Walker, is my other one, which I don't mind having those two for the run home. But I see where you're coming from. It's a pick something out of a shit bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've still got Dill Brown?
Still got Dill Brown. So he's my 5'8". I've got Cleary and Cherry Evans at halfback. They're not going to change. So I've got Brown there. So I've just got the Jai Gray slot and I not so much can go to anyone I want, but let's say I had the money. I don't think Jaden Campbell's 250k better or 230k better than Burton or 200k better than Munster. Maybe he is, but they've got some tougher games coming up back end of the year. I'm just like, who's the play?
Yeah, mate, honestly, I don't find any of them super appealing. I'm happy to have Jaden Campbell, but I even thought on the weekend, mate, he got 2 try assists off bounce balls.
They were awful.
They were awful try assists.
That was horrible watches, not
Yeah, there was a lot of compliments and stuff for him. I really didn't think he was that great on the weekend, Jaden Campbell, but fuck, he's at 800k, Campbell.
I know. And that's what I mean. I'm not paying that for him.
100%, yeah.
I could hold off on the Jai Gray trade and stick with him for another week, which is fine. I'm just in my head, and I know there's still 6 weeks to go, play a bit longer than shorter, but with trades up the sleeve, I'm looking at, I can get Burton against the Raiders at Belmore in a day game.
Yeah.
Or hold on to Jai Gray, probably play him this week against South Sydney Saturday night in Cronulla. I do not like that at all. Like, there could be 100-point swing between those two in that.
I'm going completely off vibe and the ownership that I like, Cam Munster.
What did you make of Cam Munster's return last week?
I thought he looked all right. Obviously, limited minutes, but I thought a couple of times it was once or twice he got an offload away at his own end. That play that he crabbed across field trying to find Eli Katoa, I thought he looked like normal Munster, to be honest with you.
And
he didn't look that hesitant to me. I don't know what you thought, but
well, leading the comp by as far as they are 3 games, and then coming back from a groin injury and how good Wishart was going, they wouldn't have brought him back a day early.
Yep.
No need to. So he should, in theory, be fully fit. So, yeah, look, that's what I'm tossing between at the moment. I can also, potentially not do it this week. Burton. I mean, when you compare those two, I suppose I like Burton goal kicking.
Yeah, that's fair.
I also, Burton, every chance not to rest end of the season unless they get a nothing game in round 27. Munster with the groin thing, not niggling, but thereabouts. Does he rest late in the season? It's a tough one.
Owned by 449 teams in the top 10,000, Camp Munster.
Well, it's interesting. If he comes out this week and tons against the Dragons, which is very possible, he could be the most traded in next week.
I like the Cam Munster play for you.
The boys last night did too.
They see Cam Munster?
They did.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I like that, Timbo.
Yeah.
You're bringing a bit to the table here. I like
Thanks,
it.
mate. Well,
it's a crowded table.
When you've got trades up the sleeve back into the year, mate, you can have a bit of fun.
You can have a bit of fun. I like that.
What are you thinking?
Okay, for myself, I am looking at Bradman Best. I've still got him. I need to move him on. I think I'm going to free up a bit of cash and go to Casey McLean.
Yep.
Who I see as a 5th, 6th CTW keeper for the back end of the season. I'm okay with that. As we said before, I don't think he gets rested at the back end, so I'm happy to have him. My other play, and this is where I've got to make a decision, Timbo, on what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to try and get an Angus Crichton into the side, or my other situation is, well, until yesterday, I thought I didn't have a fullback this week because I had Turbo and Sharp. Sharp's now on the wing. He's got a break even of 52 in this game. So my hope would be that KP loses money, comes down a little bit. KP's break even is 100, which we know what KP. I know it's against Penrith, but I just think if I'm playing the Penrith Panthers, there is one spot I'm going to target, and it's that right edge.
Yeah.
And that's where KP does his best work. As I said before, I think with Phoenix playing halfback, I reckon KP gets a stack of ball. It just takes one good play on that edge for him to go 70 there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go Fletcher Sharp straight to KP this week. I think everyone's going to go Penrith, not going near him, no thanks. I'm sort of going to lean into it this week, I think.
You are in a unique situation with Turbo and Fletcher Sharp because, look, Fletcher Sharp, financially speaking, you could hold him because he'll go there, he should score. He's, in theory, he's 30 odd or whatever. He's not really going to drop much. And Pong with his 100 break even, he almost certainly will drop cash as well going out to Penrith. Points-wise is the issue. And I don't think Kalen Pong is a buy until next week because I don't think he scores that well this week. But in your circumstances where you're going to do the trade next week anyway, you don't essentially have a fullback this week, I can get around it.
The other thing is that it allows me to, like, if I get KP this week, it'll leave me with enough cash to then next week be able to bring in someone, but to bring in Angus, which means I'll get Angus and I'll Kawatu back as well next week. So
if you got Ponga, you'd get Angus this week.
No, it'll allow me to get him next week.
Buy next week,
straight to him. Yeah. So
I got the buy next week. Roosters.
Oh, sorry. After that, yeah. So what I'd be hoping to do is to sit on my hands this next week, not use a trade, which I don't think I'll need to, and then bring in Angus, and that'll leave me with 4 trades for the last 4 weeks, all going to plan.
I am planning at this stage, pending that 5-8 trade this week, I'm planning on using 6 trades in the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
Which will have my team entirely set up, and it leaves me 2 trades with 3 weeks to play. Firstly, to cover any key injuries like, e.g. if Robson got injured and Brayley was off the bench or something.
Yep.
Basically there to cover that, and alternatively to have some fun if there aren't any major injuries. But again, I've got the depth there that I can cover every position regardless except that hooker one. So I'll have 2 to go with 3 weeks to play.
So if I make those 2 trades this week, for me, that'll leave me with 5 trades and I'll have 424K in the bank.
Huge.
To be able to do whatever the fuck I might even, depending on if Porter can snag an attacking stat, I might even be able to go him to Angus.
Huge, yeah.
But I probably want to keep Porter. You're right. He might be a decent little thing to have at the back end of the season.
Yeah, it'll all be price. I'm Lane and or Pierce Paul to Crichton after the bye, and certain J Manu.
Love that. Fucking
What
love
could go
that.
wrong?
What could go wrong? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm a little bit surprised Joey Manu's been named this week. With the bye next week, I thought, why not just?
I think my thoughts on it are it's a broken hand. If the bone's healed, the bone's healed. It's not like it's a hammy or a calf or something or a soft tissue thing where it could tweak. Like it's a bone. It's fixed.
Yeah, fair shout. All right, so that's what I'm thinking of doing. Kat, have you got anything in mind at the moment?
No, I really needed this episode to
How
take
many
it
boosts
all
got
in.
left?
I've got 2 boosts still.
Still? I feel like you've used a boost the last 7
Well, I
weeks in a
said
row.
still because I think there was a week where we said I would use one and I didn't end up using
okay,
one.
sweet.
So that's where the still came in because I know I seem to be using words quite rogue today. So I am interested in upgrading a front rower. So kind of looking at Payne Haas as well. I did sell Olakau'atu with the intention of bringing him back into my side at some point as well.
With your trade you can. Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what to do there. I also have Dylan Brown and Lockie Galvin as my 5'8" pairing, and both I would be interested in changing. I feel like Dylan Brown's a bit of money on the bench that could be spent elsewhere. So I'm just trying to work out what to do there, and I'm getting a look from you.
Oh, no, I don't hate those 5'8s.
No, me either.
Oh,
Kat, the exact same question comes up.
Yeah.
Who to at 5'8"?
Yeah,
Who do
well,
you want?
and
Who's better?
that's what I've been
Who's better
looking
than
at.
Dylan Brown at 5'8" right now? I mean, Jaden Campbell, Jerome Luai's a fly, but he's also over 800K. I just don't know who's that much better.
I don't want to spend more than that. So
Like Dylan Brown to a Munster or Dylan Brown to a Burton, it's like, that's just the definition of sideways, isn't it?
I think so.
that's a
Yeah.
good point. And that's why I probably haven't done anything yet, because there is nothing super black and white in that sense. Whereas I definitely think there's opportunity to upgrade
How many
in
trades?
some other positions.
How many trades do you have left?
11.
11 with 6 weeks left. So you can double trade every week bar one.
Oh, I
your
think
boost.
with your 5'8s too, like they don't have a bye to come. They play each other probably for a wooden spoon
Tigers
in round
have a
27.
bye, I think.
Tigers have a bye, do they?
Yeah. I'll
That's
check.
fine
but
though.
Okay.
round 26.
Round 26, okay. Yeah,
I guess my other...
I just think they'll both play in round 27. There's a big chance a lot of guys get rested that week.
Tigers have a soft draw too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Fair enough. Well, I guess though...
Catch saving trades.
But like the amount of trades you can use elsewhere for guys that, whether it be like getting a
just
Zach
can-
Lomax when no one can get him or these sort of guys.
I can also just go looking for points week to week.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I guess that's what I'll be
Which is
doing.
exactly what we did to finish last year. We had those trades to be able to go to the Manly boys and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like you can make a world of difference.
And in saying that, I see the value in the Manly players in the lead up to finals. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with who I have, but there's definitely space there to make some upgrades.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Sit v starts, Timbo.
Yep.
What are your decisions you have to make this week, mate?
I have Olakau'atu, Cherry Evans and Ruben Garrick, so I'm a little light on, which also pushes me towards that 5'8" trade a little bit more this week.
Yep.
If I had the Manly boys available, I could cover it with guns easily. And then I own like the likes of Greg Marju and Kai Pish-Paul against the Panthers, who I'm quite reluctant to play. So as it stands, my CTW would be Dom Young, Val Holmes. I'm playing Greg Marju at the moment. I don't love it. Wateni Lesniak against Parramatta with Charns back, I actually love. And I've got a bench of Tedesco, Casey McLean, Burton / Munster. The fourth one's probably the real interesting one. I'd probably play Samuel Afinu over Kai Pearce-Paul and Sean Lane. I do not trust Lane despite looking good last week. Probably Finu against the Cowboys. First game of the week. Cowboys a few forwards out. I actually don't mind that play. So
I'm playing him.
yeah. And like it's even tempting to drop Marju and play Pearce-Paul just for 80-minute base or Lane. It's tricky, that last spot.
I reckon Marshall and KP are going to do okay this week. I really
Just
do.
because of Penrith right edge battling.
Just because that's the only place you can target.
Because you'll be going at Taruva as well, solid defender, but yep.
Yeah,
game.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to play Marshew this week. So I'm going to have my bench at the moment will be Casey McLean, Jaden Campbell, Deese. Oh, he's on the bye. Shit. This just went from bad to worse very quickly. Casey McLean, Jaden Campbell, and then I've got to pick 2 out of Porter, Kai Pearce-Paul, Terrell May, and Wade Egan. Who the Warriors got?
I'd play Wade Egan.
Yeah, I'll reserve Wade Egan. Then I've got to pick 1 out of KPP, Ruben Porter, or Terrell May. That's tough. That's
How
a
many
tough
minutes
gig.
did Porter get last week? Let's see.
I think he played the whole thing. I think he
Played
went the
80.
distance. Yeah.
46 points, 46 in base. I'd be tempted to play him out of that lot.
Yeah. No, I just can't do Terrell May over there, can I? It's just too many. Yeah. One
there,
of
mate.
those guys. Honestly, I think I'm going to spend 4 days fucking mind-boggling over KPP and Ruben Porter, and one's going to score 44,
Yeah.
the other one's going to score 46. So gives a fuck kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be my last play, and then we get these Manly boys back, and then hopefully make a run at the back end.
Good Lord. From next week with the Manly boys back, like Sit V starts, it's just going to be joyful for a few weeks. Oh, I can say that the Roosters are on the bye next week, so it's going to be a little bit tricky again there.
Is Olakau'atu done
thank
with
God.
his suspensions? He'll be back
He's
after
back
the
after
bye.
the bye. Yeah.
Great news.
Yeah. It's funny the way it's worked out with me with the Roosters. I literally only have one that I play every week. It's Dom Young. So that won't
don't have
impact me too
Teddy.
much. Yeah. So, if KP can do well this week against the Panthers, I can hopefully make some moves.
You look at next week with Teddy gone, Terrell gone, Joey Martin, if anyone who jumps on him, Angus Crichton gone. I don't know if I said Dom Young, but a lot of popular Roosters there. Connor Watson,
Did you mention Dom Young?
Dom Young gone. With all those Roosters out, if there's an injury or two this week, could be very tricky for those who are overstacked on Roosters next week.
Very tricky, Trindle. All right, let's move to El Capitanos for this week. What's jumping out to you, Timbo?
Lots of options, I think, for VC. I think you've got a captain, Nathan Cleary, don't you?
I think so.
After the weekend.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, VC is interesting with you, with Pappy and stuff.
I'm going to go Pappy over Teddy. I think Pappy, he's looking okay. He's getting these injections in his foot, so it's like, I don't like him as a trade-in, but the Eels, who I got, Dragons matchup is what it is. Teddy's the obvious option against the Dolphins, and it's, when do they play? 8 p.m. Friday, so night game. Oh, no, that's, is that like
It's
5
6
p.m. over there?
Yeah, it's 6 p.m.
6
Perth
p.m.
time.
over there. Again, it'll be dry and good conditions. So, look, Teddy's the obvious one, but I'm just going, I like to take a bit of a fly with my VC. That Pappy game, if the Dragons don't turn up and the Storm fire, there could be a big one in there. He's low ownership. I'm going to go Pappy.
If it helps you on your Teddy decision, I will be on the sideline doing some weird voodoo shit
It does.
in his direction.
Get the dole out.
Brace yourself for that. Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Mate, I am obviously Nath. I think he is the captain choice this week. VC wise, mate, I will be looking at maybe a little Val Holmes play against the West Tigers as goal kicker there. The other one I don't mind is Jaden Campbell against the Brisbane Broncos. I'm hoping the Broncos win that for about even, but I wouldn't mind a little Jaden Campbell play. No Teddy, I don't have your Pappies of the world and whatnot. So that's probably one of those two will be my play. Probably leaning towards Val.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Val play. I will say, I'm not ruling the Tigers out of this game now that they've lost Cotter and Taumalolo. They go down to Leichhardt. They beat them, 66-6 or something there last year. Cowboys have been a lot more consistent of late. The Tigers are a few out. Like, don't get me wrong, I expect the Cowboys to win. I am nowhere near convinced it's going to be a blowout people are expecting.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
They're pretty light on middles.
I'll tell you what, Rando read out some unbelievable stats about the Cowboys at Leichhardt Oval. They've won like 2 of their last 11 or something, and the Tigers have a good record against the Cows. So, yeah, 100%. I can see that playing out as well, mate. But yeah, that's where I'm sitting. Kat, what are we thinking?
Definitely Cleary with the C, but I'm a little tempted by Dave Fafita.
Ooh.
Against the Broncos.
Against his former club. I don't hate that.
Or VC
So he'll be going
option.
at the right edge of Reynolds. Yep. The only thing is, I mean, getting a bit critical, but nitpicky, but The Broncos right edge of Reynolds. Reynolds in contact pretty good as a defender who he'll be running at. They defend very tight, which we saw them get torn apart. I think it'll be out the back on the edges as per last week that we see them get done. But as you said, if the Broncos don't turn up and Fafita point to prove against his old club, yeah.
Yeah, if Fafita gets a sniff of a flat track against Brisbane, he could go.
I don't like what he's doing outside Jaden Campbell.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Campbell plays out the back a lot. He doesn't use him well. If it was foreign, I think it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
I think his ceiling is quite capped with Jaden Campbell there.
Can I ask another one? What do you think of RTS against Eels?
Eels are hardo.
So I really don't know what. I just can't.
I'm so jealous.
At
of
fullback,
RTS.
I would have said lock and load. On the wing, he's on the left wing, not the right wing.
Yeah, with SJ back, that could be trouble.
Oh, yeah. Tamari Martin dropped. Spare me. Are you serious? He's been awesome for them.
Tough.
So then you now go SJ on the right. He'll command a lot of ball. Chanel Harris-Tavita on the left won't get much ball. That worries me about RTS. I think he scores well because it's Parramatta, but it hasn't aligned for him this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all on the Nath train, though.
Nath train.
I think we have to be. All right. Are we done and dusted? Anything else to touch on?
Pretty good.
What did you talk about last night?
Mate, we had second place overall on the show. SC Playbook subscriber Reese Wynn. And
Nice.
very insightful. Good data man, great fella, and he was on fire. So we just basically did a deep dive, like a Q&A with Reese as to how he set up his squad at the start of the season, the approach he's taken to the season to be second overall, and chatted all about that. So it was a good listen.
If you don't score here, you'll never score. Reese Wynn.
Well, his
You like that one?
his dad is Peter Wynn.
Of course it fucking is.
It's
That's
not the
unbelievable.
actual. It's not the actual Peter Wynn,
But his name is Peter Wynn?
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
kidding?
heaps into that.
Yeah.
That's
Very
cool.
good.
Awesome.
How does he spell his last name? Is he a W-I-N guy?
He's a W-I-N. Peter Wynn is Y.
Y what? W-Y-N-N.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Hates a vowel. I fucking hates a
Not a big
vowel.
vowel guy.
Yeah,
Nah.
he's on the Winston train.
Yes, hates a vowel. Love that. All right. We are done and doosted. We've got the late show coming your way tonight, answering all of your questions.
We got so many good questions. For
So
this
many
set.
good questions. It's a question of I felt like the Riddler out here, Timber.
Some good stuff coming in.
Goods gear, very good. I look great in green too. So, right? We'll see you on the late show. Bye.